to talk about the power of happiness and how we can harness it, how it's kind of untapped, and what exactly is happiness, because it's so elusive and we throw this word around all the time, but I don't think a lot of people really understand what it means and how to get there. So I want to start today's call by actually sharing a story with you. Okay. Now, this story, I came across it, I think a week or so ago, and it was this video, and it was, I think Jordan Peterson was interviewing a guy, and I believe he's a psychologist. He's a really awesome guy that I listen to a lot. But anyway, he was in this interview, and he was talking to this gentleman, and I don't remember who the gentleman was, but the gentleman was talking about how he did this drug called Molly. Okay, and I don't know if you guys are too familiar with that, but it's a psychedelic, and it's kind of like the party drug you do at like raves and concerts and festivals. It's kind of like the popular one. The hip kids are using it. Anyway, he was talking about his experience on Molly, and this drug is known as the happy drug. It just makes you feel like full of love all the time. And what he was talking about is when he took it, he was so filled with happiness and joy and with love, like filled to the top, higher than he's ever been before, that he didn't know what to do with it. He couldn't actually physically hold on to all the happiness. He had to give it away. Like he had to just give it away. So all he was doing while he was on this high was just calling people, calling his friends, his families, his coworkers, his fellow students, his girlfriend. Like he was just calling everybody and telling them how much he loved them and appreciate them. And it was so cool. And he was saying that what his revelation was if you can get yourself to a point where you are completely full to the brim of happiness, not only do you want to give it away, you can't not. It is physically impossible for you to store any more happiness. How cool is that? Like an actual physical response that you can't help but show it and throw it out there and give it to everybody around you. And I thought that was so cool, and what a cool revelation. Not promoting the use of drugs to get there, but the concept was very, very cool. And what it kind of spiked in me was that if we could all get there, if we could all fill ourselves to the brim, where the point where we couldn't actually physically hold on to any more and we had to keep giving it away. Imagine what your life would look like. Imagine how much love everybody would feel. Imagine there'd be no resentment. There'd be no anything. Like we would just have such good open communication if we were sharing our appreciation for everybody all the time. And so this made me think, okay, so how do we get people to this point, right? Without the use of drugs. How do we get close to just overflowing with genuine happiness where we can't contain it to ourselves almost all the time? And I started thinking about, the word happiness and what does it mean and where can we find it? And, as I was kind of going through this exploration in my mind and my experience with the word, you hear it all the time. I feel like it's lost its sparkle, right? I'm happy with my body, meh. I'm happy with my relationship. Like it's lost its sparkle around it. And everybody tells you to be happy. Everybody tells you to do what makes you happy. Be happy. Go find what makes you happy, right? Your parents say, I don't care what you do. Just do what makes you happy, right? You say that to your kids too, right? What the hell does that mean though? How do we quantify that, right? Everybody tells you to be happy. No one is showing you how to be happy. Nobody. There's not a college course on happiness 101 to help us. We keep saying it, but nobody knows how to actually do it. So we keep trying and our efforts are in vain because we don't even know what we're doing, right? We're just doing what we have to do to survive, basically first, and then we fill in the rest with the things that we enjoy, and we hope that those things that we enjoy is enough to fill in and make us content, right? And so, in my opinion, there's a happiness crisis. There's a crisis. Like just look at the mental health statistics, right? Look at your good versus bad moods, right? Which one's happening more frequently, right? there is a crisis going on of happiness, and it's not for lack of trying. It's not for lack of trying, because from birth, most of us are told, do what makes you happy. All the social media, all the influencers, all the celebrities, everybody's feeding be happy down your throat. So why aren't we? If that's like one of the main messages, love everybody and be happy. I've heard that my whole life. I still don't know what that means. I still don't have a solid definition for what that means for me. And so what I wanted to do was find a definition to try and give you ladies, so we can kind of at least focus in on what we were trying to achieve here, what we want to get to. And one of the best definitions that I found was, happiness is a function of appreciating and accepting what is. So happiness is a function of accepting what is. So that's the basic definition. Now, what I want to add to that, my own definition, is it's not just accepting what is, it's also being grateful for what is. It's one thing to accept it and be okay with it, then it's another to love it, even if it's not ideal. So happiness, for the sake of this phone call, for the sake of this message, is accepting what is and being grateful what is, not regretting the past or fearing the future or thinking of everything we don't have or do have or want. It's accepting what is, and on top of that, being genuinely grateful. Okay, so that's happiness to me. At least that's the best tangible way that I can put it at this point in my life. Okay, so then how do we achieve that? Like, how do we actually be okay with where we are now, right now? Not where we know we'll be in a month from now so we can hold on tight until then, right? Not that. How do we genuinely accept it and then genuinely be grateful for it? Because accepting takes a lot of work, but we can all get to the acceptance. Being grateful is another thing. Because, you know, we all feel grateful. We all know what those feelings are. We all know that we feel appreciation and love, but we forget to show it, right? I know that I love and appreciate and am grateful for everything that Ryan does. I know that I am. I feel it up here and in here. But day to day, I don't show it. My day to day gets in the way, right? I don't voice my appreciation. I don't show it with acts of service or doing nice things. Sometimes it forgets, right? We forget. Although we are totally appreciative, and sometimes we think people can read our mind and they know that and they don't have to hear it, right? We don't always show it. So if we're not constantly showing these emotions, which are the emotions of happiness, appreciation, right? Love, acceptance. If we're not constantly actively showing that, not just feeling them, if we're not showing it, that means that our brim is not full. We are not busting at the seams with happiness, right? Otherwise, we would have no choice but to give it away because we couldn't handle anymore, right? So if you're not bursting at the seams every day to tell someone how much you love them and appreciate them because it's not on your mind because we're so busy with other things, that's a sign that this happiness needs some attention. We got to fill up your brim some more, okay? So how do we do that, right? How do we fill up this brim, right? How do we get closer to that acceptance and appreciation outwardly and loudly? How do we do those things loudly? Well, I don't know about you ladies, but I'd be really curious to see if anybody else can relate to this. When I was 70 pounds heavier, and I always thought about losing weight, always dreamed about it, I started creating this fantasy world in my head where I was skinny. Does anybody else do that? This life I would live, the things I would do, where I would go, what I would wear, how I would feel. I had this whole life planned in my head. I'm going to walk into, my high school reunion and turn heads, right? I'm going to wear that cute crop top in my wardrobe and feel confident and show off my belly. I'm going to slow-mo walk out of the beach water like James Bond. I had like vivid fantasies of everything that I thought I wanted to do when I got to that goal. Does anybody else relate to that? Maybe not in the direction that I'm going, but we think about all the things when we get there, I'm going to X, right? If only I could this, then I'll do this, right? And it's nuts. I went really deep into that fantasy. I had, if I ever have this event, I'm going to wear this outfit, and I'm going to walk like this, and I'm going to talk like this, and this whole new person in my head that I was banking losing the weight on to get there. And so I was constantly living in the future. and I would say, okay, I'm not going to go to the beach today. I'm just going to tell, I'm going to pass on the beach today. I'm going to work really hard all winter, and then I'm going to rock it next summer, right? And I did that for 10 years. For 10 years. Countless family beach days I missed out on. Countless. And you guys can relate to that, not necessarily with beach days, but you get what I'm saying. I missed out on so many opportunities because I was waiting to be somewhere. And I never got there until I stopped living in my fantasy. So stop daydreaming. If you want to be happy and have that brim overflow, you got to stop daydreaming. Get out of your head. Think about how you can be that fantasy a little bit today. Or if you're actively working on making it a reality, then stop thinking about it, because it's only a matter of time until you actually get to live it. So stop living it now. Live who you are now. It's crazy. It takes up a lot of time in your head and we don't even realize it. These little connections that we make. And so you have to stop this daydreaming. You have to stop this fantasizing, because you'll always be waiting for something better. You'll always be waiting for something to unleash yourself. You've never reached your potential because you've been holding your back. You're saving it for the right time, right? It's like saving your money all your life and dying before you get to spend it, right? What was the point? What was the point of sacrificing in the bad sense and holding back in the present for a future that you could still be living now? There's a difference between good sacrifice and bad sacrifice, right? You got to be smart with your sacrifices. Why have you been sacrificing in that area versus another area? What's going to give you an actual return? Because not having a fun beach day because you don't want to wear a bathing suit that no one is looking at you in anyway. Nobody. You know why? Because they're all thinking the same thing as you. They're thinking you're looking at them. So what's the sacrifice here, right? Where can we pull back our life so we can start to fill up our happiness instead of thinking when we get to X, that's when the brim is full and spilling over. So really check yourself to see if you are fantasizing. If you're holding yourself back now for this weird future we've created in our head that we think magically being skinny, in quotations, skinny, is going to give us, right? So this is the really mind-blowing part. There is no path. There is no path to happiness. There is no blueprint. There's no guide. There's no step-by-step, do this, and one day you're going to be happy. There's no path to happiness. The happiness is the path. The path is happiness. What does that mean? Well, what if I told you you'd never find a purpose in life? You know how we kind of wander through life hoping that one day it will all make sense, we'll find a deep meaning, we'll have that burning passion for something, it will all click one day. What if I told you that would never happen? What if I told you you'd actually never find your purpose? What if I told you searching for a purpose was your purpose? What if I told you you'd never get a purpose? Searching for your purpose is your purpose. Searching for happiness is happiness. There's no gold at the end of the rainbow here. There is no end to the rainbow. You'll never find it. You'll get lost. The gold has been on your back the whole time. You have everything you need to get to where you want to be right now. But first you need to know that. And then you need to actively say, I'm going on this adventure for the sake of going on an adventure. The quest is the quest, right? We don't start a quest. The heroes, Hercules, Achilles, they didn't start their quests because they wanted to be heroes. They had a calling to quest. They had a call, an urge to go on an adventure. And so they did it. And because of it, we talk about them. Centuries later, we still talk about them. Their stories, their heroes. That's the goal everybody keeps working for, right? But if you start with that goal, you never get to that goal because you never find the end of the rainbow. You enjoy the view of the rainbow along the way, and then you forget that you were searching for the gold because the rainbow is all that you needed. So very interesting switch here, ladies. Your goal is the quest. Your goal is to go on an adventure. Embrace the adventure for the sake of the adventure. Embrace your weight loss journey for the sake of a weight loss journey. For what it's going to teach you, who it's going to mold you into, and the little things you're going to learn about yourself on the way. And if you do that, that's when you become the hero of your own epic story. But if you go out with the goal of becoming a hero, usually we don't become a hero, right? We got to be humble. We've got to go on a quest because we want a quest. The path is the happiness. Your purpose is to search for a purpose. Even if you never find one, you'll find purpose in the search. You'll find happiness in the search. You just have to know how to search. And you have to stop trying to get somewhere with no end in mind or with the wrong end in mind. Happiness, you have all you need to be happy. You really do. You really do. You've always been fine. You've always been fine. Even when you weren't fine, you were still fine. You were still fucking fine. Even at your lowest, you still survived. So you have everything you need to be happy. You just have to let go of society's idea of happy, of this fairy tale, of this fantasy that you've built up in your mind in over the years of what you think you're going to be or where you want to go and what life could look like. And embrace the search. Embrace your quest, right? All the cool characters you meet on your quest. All the cool trophies you get on your quest. The quest is more fun than the end goal. The quest is more rewarding. So that's your purpose, ladies. That is your purpose. Your purpose is to go on this adventure, this crazy, hard, messy, sloppy, confusing weight loss and health journey just for the sake of it. Just for the hell of it. Because you need a quest in your life. You need an adventure in your life. If it's not this, then what is it? If it's not this, I can't think of anything more noble than this quest. I cannot. Challenge me on it. Think of something else. I cannot think of anything more noble than this quest. So what else are you going to do? You got nothing better to do. That's the one ticket. That's the one-way trip to unhappiness, is not going on a quest because you're afraid of, falling, of not finishing, of being embarrassed, of someone seeing you on the quest and not be successful. But look at all the great heroes in mythology and real life, right? Sometimes we only remember the highlight reel. But everybody hits rock bottom before they go up. So anybody that you admire, anybody that you're inspired by, anybody that, pushes you, they were probably lower than you at one point. They probably felt lower than you've ever felt before. And that's why they were so successful, because they experienced that. So don't shy away from those things. There is no happiness without darkness. There isn't. Because then we wouldn't know what happiness is. We have nothing to measure it to, right? So you wouldn't enjoy this journey if you didn't fail on this journey. Because then you wouldn't enjoy, it would be boring. You wouldn't learn anything. You wouldn't know any different. You'd just be coasting. Oh, cool, again. I did good. I did good. I did good. I did good. There's something satisfying about persevering. There's something satisfying about pushing yourself. There's something satisfying about getting back up when you fall. When you scrape your knee, when you break a bone, there's something satisfying in the harder that it is to overcome, the stronger you become in the process, and the more proud of yourself you are on the other side of it. And you don't want to miss those, right? Or you don't want to avoid those because you think that's the stuff that doesn't make you happy now. But your purpose is to search for a purpose, and that's it. What if there is no purpose except to just keep searching for one? Then just pick a quest, stick with it, and enjoy every grueling second, so that in the spark of enjoyment, it's a deep enjoyment. It's a profound enjoyment that fills you. Not the little tiny happinesses you get when you get to sit and watch Netflix at the end of the night. That makes me happy. It does. Makes me happy. What am I watching now? I'm watching Love Island now. That makes me hella happy. Does that fulfill me? Does that make me die with no regrets? Does that give me a purpose? No. But my little happiness, my little reprieves, that's not what does. The adventure, the quest, the push forward. Pretend you're a hero in your own epic. If you looked from the outside in on your story, what would you say to yourself? You'd say you're doing the best you can. Keep going, because I'm super excited to see how the story goes, chapter to chapter. If you're writing your own damn epic, it's going to be pretty epic. You don't want to miss that. You don't want to stop a chapter short, because there's something new on each new page. And we stop too soon. We put the book down because we get bored, or it's too hard to read, right? It reads like a textbook sometimes. It's just too much. We can't do it. But don't miss the opportunities. Enjoy your adventure, ladies, because this is the best one you're going to get. The best one. Don't miss out. You're in your own Disney movie right now. All right? Whether you're a Disney princess or warrior or whatever one you want to be in. You're the Disney princess right now. So pretend like you're watching yourself. Act like you're watching yourself, and you want the triumphs, right? How boring would a Disney movie be if nothing bad happened? How boring, right? If Ursula never took Ariel's voice away, or Snow White never fell asleep, or Hercules never lost his strength. Like, how boring would that movie be? You wouldn't watch it. There's nothing that keeps you on the edge of your seat. That's when you live. That's when living happens, ladies, on the edge of your seat, not in your comfort zone. So don't settle for this normal version of happiness that society says you should be doing. Because what if that doesn't exist? Then just go on the adventure for the sake of having an adventure. And that's kind of exciting. You're on your own little adventure. Maybe it's boring sometimes. Maybe you haven't looked at it like that lately. Maybe you're just like, oh, this is just, I'm just living my life. But you're living an adventure. So make it one. Make it one. Embrace it. Appreciate it. And then over time, there'll stop being this emptiness and this gap where your glass is empty. You'll be happy with what you have because you're writing your own adventure. And that's cool. That's fun. Nothing is underappreciated in an adventure. Everything happens in that story for a reason. And you find out at chapter 10 why you stumbled in chapter 2. You find out why. But don't close the book before you find out that next chapter. Okay, ladies? So, takeaways for this call. You should be trying to get to a point where you are overflowing with this contentment and joy, where you can't physically help but just give it away all the time. And you only do that by focusing on happiness, which is by accepting what is and appreciating what is. And to do that, you first have to realize that happiness is the path. The path is where we find it. It's not at the end of the path. Your purpose is to keep searching for a purpose. And it's as simple as that. So keep going. Learn to appreciate more. When you appreciate your journey more, you will outwardly show it more. So if you find that you are being more grateful, you're being more appreciative, you feel more love flowing from you, that means you're in the right direction. If that's not crossing your mind because you've been so busy, you're tired, or maybe on the other side too, angry and upset, that's a cue that this call is for you. This call is for you. All right, ladies? So I will leave it at that. I appreciate your attention. Enjoy your adventure, ladies, because it's the only one you're gonna get, and it's the best one you're gonna get. So don't make it a mediocre movie. Make it, $1 billion at the box office. All right.